Today's video is a part of our monthly open collab hosted by myself as well as my dear friend Audia from DIY with Audia, and our co-hosts for this month are Lowly D from Lowly D's Creations as well as the Twisted Serenity. This month's theme is a tiered summer tray. So what I decided to do, this is my first time ever crafting for a tiered tray, but I decided to stick with the white and the silver. Of course, the glam motif, that's just my taste. It's what I like. I love it. But this will be used in my summer decor as I do entertain and have barbecues. So the first step for this project is I want to take this rectangular wooden plank that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And I must say, you guys, that when I saw these, I had to pick up every last one of them because I knew if I went back the next day, they wouldn't be there. So the first step with this is taking some of my chalk or my white matte paint, and I'm going to go ahead and give the back and all four sides of this piece of wood a nice even coat because this is going to give us a nice finished look to the first project. Once I have painted the back and all four sides, I'm going to allow this to dry. And what I really love about the chalk paint or the matte paint is it takes no time at all for that paint to dry. So now, once this paint has completely dried, I'm now going to bring in one of these, what are they called? Peel and stick tiles from the Dollar Tree. And what I want to do is go ahead and take this tile off the backing, and I'm going to see exactly where I need this piece of wood to be, wherever you want the pattern for your piece to be. So once I have decided that, now I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm going to run a nice border of this around the perimeter of that piece of wood. I'm going to eyeball where it needs to be, and I'm going to carefully place it on the back of that sticking tile. And then I'm going to apply some pressure to the front of it to make sure it's nice and smooth. There are no air bubbles, and to make sure that it's nice and attached to that piece of wood. Now, when you're doing this, please take your time when you are placing that wood onto that sticking tile, because once it's down there, there's almost like zero chance for it to come off. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my crafting knife, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut away the rest of that stick and tile, peel and stick tile. And I'm not going to throw the rest of it away. Of course, I'll keep it because we can use that for something else. So to brighten this up a bit, I'm going to now bring in some of this trim from the Dollar Tree. I love this sparkly trim that they have. You can find this in the Crafters Square section. And I'm going to go ahead and run a line of this vertically as well as horizontally. And I love this because it's going to give us like a nice little border. There's a name for this, but I'm not quite sure what it is. Now, with this particular trim as well, it does have a nice strong adhesive on the back of it. But if you wanted to, you could always take a little bit of hot glue just to give it a bit more security. So now that I have those two pieces of that trim on the front, now I'm just going to go ahead and take one of my larger stones, not rhinestone, acrylic gemstones. And I'm just going to place that right in the corner, the top left corner, where the two pieces of that trim meet. So now what I want to do with this particular project is I want to go ahead and form a cross, because my faith is very important to me. My relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ is very important to me. And, however I can express that, I do so. So with this one, of course, I wanted to make a cross. So this is just some of the thinner, like miniature diamond trim that you can find from Hobby Lobby and also on Amazon. And I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue this in the formation of a cross. And I'm taking my time when I'm cutting out these pieces because I don't want to waste my trim by cutting it too short because I was not careful. Just wasting this trim because it's not expensive, but hey, I just don't want to waste my trim. So once I have both of these pieces to where I want them to be, now I'm going to take the hot glue and just going to hot glue these two pieces down. And that is the first project. I love how this turned out. It's very sparkly, and when the sun hits it on that tray, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So now for project number 2. This is the little box that my AirPods came in. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and remove those paper tags from the bottom of this. And you guys, this has got to be like my favorite project in today's video, because we're going to turn this box into like a candy dish, so to speak. So to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and take my hot glue and I'm going to run this hot glue on 3 of the sides. So on one of the long sides and on both shorter sides of the top of the box. And then I'm just going to attach that to the end of the bottom portion. As you see, it's going to look like a bookend or like an open ring box. That's exactly the look that we're going for. So now to cover up all the Apple and the AirPod words and symbols, I'm going to go ahead and take some of this really nice silver ribbon that I picked up from Michael's back during the holiday season. And I'm just going to go ahead and cover this by placing it right in the middle of each side. So a tip about placing down trim like this or ribbon, you don't have to put glue all the way down the middle part that you're trying to attach it to. I just simply like to tack it down on the back, and then when I'm turning my corners, I like to put glue on either side of that corner, and that will allow that ribbon to be nice and secure. And of course, I started in the back and I'm going to finish in the back. So now that I've done this portion, I'm going to go ahead and finish up with that ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other parts of this box as well. So now that that's nice and cleaned up, now I want to go ahead and take some of these metallic stars that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. This is like table scatter, but of course when I saw it, it's shiny. Yeah, something just went off in my mind and I was like, gotta use it for a DIY. And I think this was the perfect DIY. Because the summertime is coming up, of course, the 4th of July is a part of the summer. And I feel like these stars can represent the 50 stars on the United States flag. So to attach these, I'm just going to bring in my hot glue, and then I'm just going to put a dot of glue, and then I will place the stars where I want them to be. Now, I used my finger, but you can also use one of those instruments that you can use for the rhinestones and gemstones to actually place it on top of the glue. So once I have these stars in place, I'm also going to use a few of these diamond shaped, I think they're called vase fillers, that come from the Dollar Tree as well. And this is going to break up the stars, and it's going to bring in a bit more shininess, a bit more sparkle. You know, I love it. And to do that, of course, I'm just going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to attach those with hot glue as well. So what you see me doing now is I actually looked on the inside of the box and I didn't realize that there was a barcode there. So just to cover that barcode, because I didn't want to paint this box. So to cover this barcode, all I did was just take some hot glue and I took some of my acrylic gemstones and just covered it right up. So with these miniature diamond vase fillers, you will see exactly how much sparkle and how much reflection you'll get. And this is really going to add and bring out those stars. Now, you don't have to stop here like I did. You could always add more of diamond wrap around the ribbon itself on either side, or you could put it on top. The choice is completely yours. I decided to scale back because I really wanted the stars and the diamonds to really have the spotlight in this particular project. So to finish this project up, I am just going to take a larger acrylic gemstone and I'm going to place it right in the middle of the bottom portion of this box. And then I'm just going to make a silver bow out of that same ribbon and just put it on top. And we're done with that project. I'll fill this with candy and you'll see it towards the end of the video. So for project number 3, now I'm going to take this miniature jar. I think I had garlic in this. Oh, you guys, I have opened officially my own catering company. So that was part of the reason why I was away for so long. But also, my nephew was in a fatal car crash. And, we've been helping him dealing with that situation. So that's why I've been away for so long. But nevertheless, I'm back. I'm here. So happy to be here. So with this particular jar of not jar of candy, boy oh boy. With this jar, I'm going to take this electrical tape. And this is a tip that I picked up from She's So Craft DEE. And what I'm doing is I'm just placing this where I want it to be because I want the bottom portion of this to be painted in white. So I'm going to take this not painter's tape, excuse me. I'm going to take this electrical tape and I'm going to mark it off, then I'll paint it. So the reason for using the electrical tape is it's supposed to give you a cleaner line when you are painting. And I must say that I am impressed that it did give a much cleaner line than masking or painter's tape does give. So to paint the bottom portion of the glass, I'm just going to take a bit of Mod Podge and a little bit of my matte white paint, mix that together, and I'm going to give this 2 coats. Now, in between the coats, I did use my blow dryer to actually dry this faster. What I noticed was it did start giving me that crinkle effect. So if you like that crinkle effect when you're doing your farmhouse or modern farmhouse, traditional farmhouse DIYs, that does work mixing Mod Podge and your paint, well, acrylic paint or matte paint that is, together, and you will get that crinkle feel when you apply the heat to it. So now that that's dry, I have removed my tape and you see that line is so crisp, y'all. So now I'm going to bring in that Dollar Tree trim again, and I'm going to actually place this right on top of that line. And I'm being very careful because I don't want to have to try to lift this up and then my paint come up with the trim. So I'm taking my time, making sure that it's where it needs to be. So I'll cut away the excess, and now I need to cover up that top rim where you actually screw the lid onto the jar. And to do so, I am just going to take some traditional diamond wrap, and that did come from the Dollar Tree. I've cut that down to size, and if I'm not mistaken, it was 3 in a row. And I'm just going to attach that with some hot glue. But if you want for a more permanent hold, you can always use a combination of your hot glue as well as like a stronger adhesive, whether it be your E6000 or what's the other one from the Dollar Tree? I can't remember. Anywho, you can use that combination of the hot glue and the strong adhesive. So once I have put that diamond wrap around the top lid of this, I'm just going to take this and fill it with some diamond dazzlers and some acrylic diamonds. And this is done. I'm going to stick a succulent in the top, and that's going to go on my tiered tray. You could always put like a little push light in the bottom of this. I think that will look really cute, lit up during the summer nights when you're having, again, your barbecues, your 4th of July celebrations, your summer birthdays. I think that would be awesome. So now I want to set this up and I'm going to show you what all 3 of these look like on my tiered tray. I love, love, love how that candy dish turned out. It's so inviting, but it's so sparkly. I absolutely love this little jar. Again, I think it would be so cute if you put like a little tea light candle in the bottom or one of those remote lights. And I must say that my plank with the cross, I love it because that's an opportunity, again, for me to share my faith. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed today's video as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, my prayer for you is that you continue to stay blessed and you continue to stay healthy. Pray for somebody that you know is going through, because you never know. One day it could be you going through and you would like for somebody to pray for you. Well, until next time, be richly blessed in Jesus' name. Bye-bye.